of the Denver Community Action Network. Thank you all for being here. As Candy pointed out earlier, this is what community looks like. This room is incredible, and we're so happy that all of you are here. Today we're going to talk about developing affordable housing and business ownership opportunities. The idea for this track of the forum was to not just talk about our issues, but talk about the solutions that are actually in progress right now that you can get involved in. So that's what each of these panelists are going to talk to us a little bit about today. So each panelist is from an organization. They're going to talk a little bit about who they are and what they do, and then they're going to move around from group to group, and you can ask them questions, and they can tell you a little bit more about how you can get involved with their organization. So let's get started. Paul, do you want to start? Cool. All right.
Hi, my name is Paul Bindle. I am a member of Queen City Cooperative. This is a limited equity cooperative. So you might have had lots of associations of co-ops. They're for dirty, stinky hippies, that they have lots of people in one place. We want to build a network of houses and real estate that is actually a real estate investment cooperative. So that is an entity that not only has members that live there and have affordable rent, but also outside investors that invest in it and that can help it grow and scale. So the unique thing about cooperatives is that they don't, so unlike traditional companies where you have an investor, they have more of a say in how a business is run and what they get to decide things about your business. A cooperative limits the power of investors. So the primary member of the cooperative, which in our case is residents, gets more power and more decision-making abilities. So that's sort of our solution that we're trying to create, a real estate investment cooperative. If you have real estate, or if you're interested in this from a person like just wanting a place to live, we would love to talk to you, and we would like to equip you and ourselves and all of us so that we can better live with each other as we become more resilient. Also, I'm starting a real co-op investment club, so if you're interested in investing in co-ops in any form, we're doing that as well.
So my name is Andrew Romero, and I'm with All In Denver, which is a organization that started about 2 years ago to try to address the affordable housing crisis here. And if I could just talk about a few points here. I think you all know Denver's facing this crisis, but I'll just say, as I was walking in, one of my good friends was saying, you know, this whole process will probably result in, you know, having some teeth to this issue of solutions. And I'll just say there's a lot of teeth in here, so I think we're on our way, you know. 13% of Denver homes listed last year were affordable on a teacher's salary, only 13%. And less than 0.5% of the restaurant workers in this city can afford to buy a home in the city today. So that's less than half of 1%. It's estimated that the gap for housing that's affordable in Denver is about 20,000 units. And each year, the city of Denver, through partnerships with developers, is adding about 800 units. And in that same period of time, and those are restricted units. Those are units that are restricted because of federal programs or city programs. So there's about 800 units being added every year, and at the same time we're losing, you know, anywhere from 100 to 200 of restricted units that were restricted over the last 30 years. So the net is we're adding about 500 units a year, and as I said, the gap's 20,000. It would take at least 40 years to fill that gap if nobody else was moving to this city. But meanwhile, there are many people moving to this city. In fact, in the last 10 years, about 100,000 people, or a little more than that, moved to the city of Denver. And many of those people, of course, were folks who are not able to afford the existing housing stock that's gone up in price. So we are getting more and more people who cannot afford to live here, not only the folks who've lived here for a long time like me, and lots of us. As another illustration, just to talk about what the city is doing, in the last, going back about 10 years ago, the budget for addressing affordable housing in the city was $37 million. And that's back 100,000 people ago, additional. Well, today, that budget to address affordable housing is only $22 million. So we've seen a significant decrease in resources in our city to address affordable housing. Meanwhile, we've had 100,000 more people. So on a per capita basis, back in 2010, we were spending about $61 per person in the city on affordable housing. Today, we spend about $31 per person on affordable housing. And we now have a significant crisis versus 10 in 2010. So all in Denver, the group that I am a board member of, we feel there just aren't enough resources going to address the issue. And those numbers just tell that story very significantly, we think. So we appreciate some of the creative programs that are coming out today from the city, from the foundation group that's doing a community land trust. You know, there's significant thought being put into new ideas. There's a housing committee that was formed to advise the city on its new funding that is about $15 million, they hope, at some point. So there's a lot of ideas out there. But again, I think our point is that there aren't enough resources. Especially when we look at other cities who are facing similar housing crises, such as Portland passed a $258 million bond, Oakland passed a $100 million bond, San Francisco a $570 million bond, Alameda passed a $580 million bond, Los Angeles $1 billion, and Seattle $300 million bond. San Diego is proposing a $900 million bond right now. So we keep seeing bond proposals and other proposals. Seattle's got allocating, same city as the size as ours, 700,000 people. They have a $100 million budget to address affordable housing. We have a $22 million budget, so it's 1/5 the size of another city comparable to us. They raised $30 million of that $100 million from developer fees. Yes, hi. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I will talk more. I think we'll have. Will we have a couple minutes?
My name is Ceci Ahmad, and I am a housing organizer with 9 to 5 Colorado. I live in Berkeley Village Mobile Home Park in Adams County. And I'm also here representing Colorado Homes for All. So Colorado Homes for All is based on a national movement, and we came together for rent control. That's our big vision and our goal. So we're a statewide coalition, but we're part of a national campaign as well. So we have our maps to show where Homes for All is building all over the country, not just here. And so right now, we're working in areas like Southwest Denver, Northwest Denver, Aurora, Adams County, and we're moving into Colorado Springs. So each group works locally on their own campaign and work. So for example, in 9 to 5, we're doing a lot of work in mobile home parks, and you'll get to hear from our Home Our Right the work that they do, but then we come together to work on things that can only be fixed at the state level. And so that's how our work happens. This legislative session, we were able to get 2 sponsors for 2 of our priorities. So we're pretty new. We're only about 2 years or a year and a half. But one of them is around strengthening the warranty of habitability. So aside from cost and rent control being super expensive, we know people are living in horrible conditions. So that's one bill that we're going to be carrying around. That's going to include severe maintenance issues if people are experiencing that, to be able to withhold rent, or if they fix repairs, that could be deducted from their rent, or to be able to move out and break their lease without penalty. Limiting application costs so that landlords can't profit off of that. And then with 9 to 5, our work that is mostly known is around our fight to preserve and purchase Denver Meadows Mobile Home Park in Aurora. We already made an offer for $20 million to buy it. The owner wants 27, and last week we filed a class law lawsuit. So that's our big work in mobile home parks. So if you're interested in knowing more about Colorado Homes for All and our movement, or want to join and get more information, you'll hear from us.
Hi everyone, my name is Huisman Schneider, and I am a member of our Home Our Right. We are a group, a local campaign based out of Southwest Denver, specifically in the neighborhood of Westwood. And our group was born out of a type of frustration. We have a community that has been mobilized for the last 10 years, fixing their neighborhood, going out to alleys, cleaning their alleys, and they didn't have an idea that they were going to be displaced because of all these improvements made to their neighborhood. And so we were born out of that frustration and out of that want to stay in the neighborhood that these folks have worked so hard to stay in. So our campaign is focused on 3 areas. The first one is awareness. We want folks to know in Southwest Denver that gentrification is happening. It's not just something that we make up. It's not just a hot button topic. It is happening in our neighborhood. We also want our property owners to be aware and to know about the predatory practices that are happening. The second area is advocacy. We're members of Colorado Homes for All, and we are pushing hard for some legislative measures this session. So, and then the third area, which is I think the most exciting area, is our community credit system. A lot of the folks in our neighborhood are a lot of them are undocumented or they have poor credit, and so when they try to get into an apartment or a home, they struggle with finding like a social security number or somebody to co-sign for them. So we're working on creating power through a renters union to be able to co-sign for each other, and so we are very excited about that, and we have leaders from Southwest Denver here representing Westwood in our Home I Right. So.
Lyle, I'm representing Denver Homeless Out Loud. We are an advocacy group, and we're working on lots of different things. We work with Western Regional Advocacy Project on a homeless bill of rights that we're trying to get passed. We give voice to people on the streets. We do surveys on the street and see what they need and give them a voice in City Hall and stuff like that. In collaboration with a lot of other groups, built a tiny house village. If you guys know about that, that's us. Homeless bill of rights.
Hey, I'm Lyle. I work with Denver Homeless Out Loud Laboratory to Combat Human Trafficking, the Burns Institute, for poverty and homelessness. And one thing I want you guys to take away today is I want you to stop using affordable housing, because it's not. What's affordable to me and what's affordable to Paul or Stephen or Chris, it's all relative. It's not affordable housing. Accessible housing. We need accessible housing. There are people all over right here that need accessible housing. Gentrification should not be called gentrification. That's a pretty name. That's a pretty name is what that is. Urban camping ban, urban survival ban. It's the same thing. Gentrification should be called what it is, displacement. That's what they're doing to each and every one of us. So, sorry I got mad. Love you guys.
Good job. I agree with you. Hi, I'm Reggie. I'm with the GES Coalition. We have all our members over here. Everybody wave. Basically what we're going to be talking about, we started a coalition about 2 years ago, and this is to also fight displacement. And the reason we're trying to actually get people involved, come to our meetings, know what's going on, because as you know, a lot of people think that gentrification is just a myth, that it's just a word that people use to describe development and renewal of parks and resources in neighborhoods, but it's not. It does displace people, and we are trying to find solutions. One of those solutions is community-owned land trust, and that is to provide permanent accessibility for families who are in need. This also provides stability in our community economically, as well as in homes and health. And we need people to know that there's a crisis here in our community. Anytime that there's invasive forms of development coming in and displacing people, health suffers. The kids who live in those homes suffer. They're not able to get to school. Transportation is a lot much harder, and it really affects people. So what we're trying to do, what we're talking about here is, we want to get people involved and know that there is something that we can do to change this and have more of a focus less on where we're going to be living for the month to month, and more of a focus on the important things like family, health, education, being able to better yourself in your community, and being able to step up and make positive changes around you, because that's really what being a community is all about, is making positive changes. So we will be talking about that. Like I said, come check us out, come to some of our meetings, learn about community-owned land trusts, which does provide that accessibility. I'm gonna start using that because that's a good one. It is true. Community ownership, stewardship, providing resources for people of in these communities of color, because that's mainly where these are is the most at risk. There's 80% of our neighbors that live in Globeville, Elyria, Swansea are at risk of not having a home in the next month. So we need to make sure we take action right now. Everybody in this room, especially everybody here at the panels, all these organizations, we're here to help. So if we can all get together and really make a big change and come together to fight what's going on, we can make a difference. So come join us. Look for the big guy in the blue, and thank you very much.
We're going to come and join you in the groups. I'll give you a 1-minute warning before you have to go on to the next group. You'll be able to ask them questions about their organization, and they'll